Okay, great. Okay, so I'll run through this really quickly. So this project is aimed at helping nature and the environment, and it's really about changing mindset one at a time, and it's looking at the early stages of development. So students in elementary school, I'm having some support from family and friends, so that makes things a little easier. Why am I looking at this and changing mindsets is because I firmly believe that starting with the young minds will bring up questions in the household, and in so doing affect actions of the some people around them, their friends or their family. The context for this is in this elementary schools in Trinidad and Tobago where I'm from. Um, so this is also addressing a need in society. Every time I went on vacation, I would see lots of littering on the beaches, on the sidewalks, on the streets. And it was just like people were doing it nonchalantly without even thinking that they were littering. They would open a can of pop and they would just throw the can, or they would open candies and paper wrappers and all that and just throw it out the window. So I thought maybe in order to help, I have to do something that's um, really different, because I'm sure many other initiatives have started but never really come to fruition, or maybe come to naught because people were serious about it. They weren't taking it very seriously. So I thought, what can I do but start with children? And why am I doing it? So it'll benefit my children, my grandchildren, who would have to interact in the environment that we leave them in the future. So that was the impetus for doing it. Another impetus was in speaking with one of my granddaughters. She had asked me, why do I not turn off the tap when I'm brushing my teeth? And I says, because I'm going to need the water again. And she goes, no, but you could turn it off and brush your teeth and then turn on the water again. And it really got me thinking how that one, like half a second conversation made me very conscious about how much water we waste all the time. So I thought that's a profound message, and I'm going to use that as a springboard to do what I'm doing. You asked about demotivation. So demotivations along the way for my project was navigating through the labyrinth of all the educational hierarchies, how to get permissions to do what I want to do. Um, those were the most stumbling blocks. But fortunately, I had friends down in Trinidad who were helping me with this and gave me some more ideas. I think I'm answering the questions there. How does commitment to what you are trying to do? So having family members on my team has really bolstered my commitment to do this. I also have a niece in Long Island who did a very lengthy video of on the same topic, but at a larger scale. And having a second look at that really made me think we have to go back and deal with this at the grassroots level. So that got me going again. And I titled this slide The Power of the Little Voices. And it's because I definitely believe that this venture is a worthwhile cause. Um, Many speak about it, several do anything about it, and they just, throw up their hands and said, well, there's no remedy for it. But I still think if the seeds are planted in the minds of the young children, that it'll grow fruits in the future. So the step one that I did was made connections for changing mindset about littering. And I contacted a friend, Anne, and she was able to find me emails of a number of principals of schools that I could connect with. I wrote up a proposal. I wrote out the purpose. Norman, I really based it on your sort of, I chose some vocabulary from how you started the project, and I wrote the proposal around that. and sent it off by email to all the school principals. Step two, the process step two, the school was asked to work on a very small plan. Mind you, I went with grandiose ideas in the beginning and then kept chipping away and paring it down to something simple, doable, suitable for the context, suitable for the audience. So a letter of invitation detailing the process went out to the school principal. I'm hoping the interested ones would respond soon. And the basic proposition underlying the inquiry would be that it's less harmful. These are the two areas I chose from the UN SDGs. And we would make a contribution to an understanding and appreciation where possible for sustainability. The target SDGs that I looked at were good health and well-being and how to ensure sustainable consumption and productive patterns. The project itself, like I said, I chipped away, I had other ideas, I shared how I wasn't sure what direction to go in, but then I thought about it with a bit of a creativity background. I thought, what can I do? So then I created a task, which was very simple. Step one, once we gain permission from a particular school, we'll have one class participate in a
Sorry, just a couple of minutes left.
Okay, yeah, I'm almost at the end. So some students would participate in a focus group. They will observe situations of littering. They would take pictures, create a collage, and then they had to write a reflection on how littering is harmful for the environment and what can be done. So that's basically the gist of it. The synthesis and the data collected would then be a reflection paper that I would write. And that's it. That's my idea and what I'm hoping to do.
It was really helpful to take us through that, Eleanor. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And such a lot of encouraging things happening for you, involving other people seem to be making a great contribution to the encouragement.
Yes, yes. And that has been very encouraging. I didn't see the previous presentation, so I don't know how far along some people are and whether they've collected data already or I'm not really. Okay.
Don't worry. People, we're all making some progress. It's more like yoga though than a race. We can do, and it's different in different contexts. I mean, others might have a way of describing it, but that's what it seems to me. And one of the things that came over for me was the way things have developed. Something happens and you see something else, or you think of something else, or a more kind of organic approach to things than being able to just make progress at a defined pace.
Right.
Don't be insecure about that.
Okay, thank you.
What are any other thoughts from others about what Eleanor was telling us?
Oh, any questions? I know it came across as kind of jagged a bit, but I wasn't able to fill in vocabulary in between the slides. We just stopped off at a restaurant on our trip. So,
we're really enjoying the restaurant atmosphere.
My family is.
No, thank you for fitting us in. It's great, and I suspect you can tell all your family what you've been doing, and that'll be another step in the progress of your project. So
yeah. My grandchildren are here, and I think they've listened to it.
Yes, great.
Just very quickly, thank you for reinforcing the voice of the young, because they see things in a way that is so clear, so simple, and so right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Valerie, you've been a wonderful audience member this whole time. Did you have anything you wanted to add or say or query or?
Yeah, there was, I suppose, two things struck me. And one particularly aligned to, I'm interested that both Blaine and Eleanor chose 3 and 12 as their SDGs of focus, but with very diverse approaches. And in particular with Blaine's, it was a really interesting lens to look through SDG 3, you know, in terms of a personal approach to diet that really I haven't come across before. So that was fascinating to listen to. But also, I think out of Blaine's, but across all 3 and the work in general, it's interesting to consider the impact of audience on what we do and how that motivates or doesn't motivate us or changes what we do, you know, even by virtue of having to share here or other audiences that see what we do. I've an art background, and it's often a debate about creating pieces of artwork and the impact of audience, but also I'm struck by it here. And I suppose it's more questions than anything else. Does it change because we have to present it either here or to other people? Is it better? Is it more freeing? Is it less freeing? So just that whole idea of audience and who's watching us and who's looking, not in a sinister way, but how that helps and how that's highlighted, I suppose, that piece about caring and whether it's caring about other people as well as ourselves. So more questions than anything, but good questions.
Lovely. Well, thank you for those. It's a nice collection of thoughts. When you were talking about looking closely at trees and so on, Glenn, you'd prompted that, and I think, Dori, you were talking about that. I was also thinking about looking closely at other people and seeing what's happening for them and how they're seeing it, and the suggestions they're making or the ways they're thinking that they can have an impact or they can't have an impact or whatever. That's something we're all doing as well, aren't we? By sitting, thinking about this and trying to make our progress, we're actually looking at other people as well. So that's great. Norman, I don't know what, I'm just now conscious of the time. I don't know what you suggest in our minute we might do.
I think we won't. Jenny has done a little presentation, but obviously we're not going to do that. We're not going to use that today. We'll save that for next time. But no, I mean, I think it's been great, actually. The stories have been fantastic. And this idea of audience, yeah, absolutely. In my own project, we did something called a Wildflower Wander this weekend, where we offered a walk around some of our wildflower meadows to our village, and we had 2 walks, and each walk had 10 people on it, and it was just great. It was just great. They came in, they just saw what we're seeing, they all went wow, and they asked loads of questions, and so that's sort of involving your audience in what we're doing, you know, as participants, is a very powerful. It gives you feedback in a way on what you're doing, but at the same time, you can clearly see that people are inspired and want to go away and do things for themselves. So the idea of audience as simply receiving information is also about audience carrying stuff away and being inspired to do things for themselves.
Yes, thank you. It's been a very rich hour, I feel, to have heard all these various things and seen lovely images as well and colourful presentations, and it's been great to do that. So thank you everybody who contributed and contributed to others giving their presentations too. So perhaps we need to wind up until the August meeting, when I wonder how many people will be able to join us, or whether this little postcard will be posted and people will read it, and we'll be posting another one in August. So, but anyway, I look forward to it because these actually are energizing and encouraging and soothing. So don't worry, Eleanor, they're soothing as well. When you have a look, you'll see what I mean. Okay, thank you everybody. So goodbye and be safe.
Thank you. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So just before we go,
Sorry.
I'm on the recording end here, so just so that I don't lose the whole thing, how do I make sure that do I pause and stop recording, or do I need to do something?
Try stopping the recording then,
Yeah.
Laurie.
Okay.